All right, Games Arena, time to blow the roof off this place. It's getting real in the arena. EG headed to the stage now, and I tell you what, a pivotal matchup for them. Can they give us that one magic game against Sentinels we seem to get in a blue moon?
They need it. I mean, it's a kind of a make it or break it for me.
Whoa.
Is that Cuber?
Wait, isn't it supposed to be an EG cube? Wait, what's going on here?
Someone get CPS on the phone. What?
Is he there against his will?
I was just joking about the voodoo doll. Yeah, we're getting serious.
Do I have pins in that?
What's she gonna do with Cuber, man?
I'm a little, somebody, I feel like it. Whoa. The call is coming from inside the house.
Wait, what was going to happen, though? Is she going to keep it?
I think there's a bit of a pump.
What will Kaplan have?
I think she's realized. Yeah, I think she just realized how comfortable it is to hold on to Cuber.
but now Kaplan is not going to have Hubert with him in the room, surely, right? So maybe that's a debuff or something.
Let's start the rumor mill. We have EG to Potter to Sentinels, right?
God help us, Sentinels now taking to the stage. We're still trying to figure out what is the plan for these guys. Second said, every time we see something unexpected that we haven't practiced a million times, we fall apart. This team needs adaptability, and I'm quite sure after last week, Coach Camp would have taken them to task. Do they bounce back like they always seem to?
Has to come back to just working those fundamentals. I think if you're looking at what John Cutie was mentioning with the interview with Elizabeth, going into the conversation of watching VODs, I think it's just making sure that you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's, playing as a group, and not have those moments where you're leaving a player isolated in chaotic scenarios. Because you've seen from the examples earlier on, so good in the trades.
Jumping into our map select now. Bear in mind, Sentinels have banned the same maps, Fracture and Ascent, every time. This time, though, much the same. Ban, Fracture, and Ascent. No, I mean, Sen have banned Fracture and Ascent here, but we're going to get Haven, Pearl, and Lotus for this series, Vance.
That's the thing, because EG always used to ban Ascent first and then ban Icebox after. It seems they wanted to float this around. There's probably something they could have maybe cooked up. You were talking about innovation. If we actually had Ascent, there was maybe a possibility we could see the innovation coming out of EG. But picking here the ban onto Split is huge, because you know how good Sentinels is on that map. So picking Haven, they look pretty decent here on Haven.
That's the Waylay map for EG as well, right?
Yes, and it's also a map that both teams have kind of had ups and downs on. I mean, EG barely squeaking by a win against 2G. I mean, that notorious, Cypher trip.
Yeah.
But also Sen losing to 100 Thieves on this map after what looked like a pretty promising attack side. It's the defense where both these teams struggle.
And where we haven't even mentioned yet is the fact that Lotus is our floater. So the fact that here Sentinels didn't go for a Lotus pick, again, potentially going back to the conversation of not evolving with the Tejo. And in those moments, in that match against Crew, there's been so many rounds. We were talking about those conversions. It was on those post plants. They didn't have enough refreshable utility left in the post plant capabilities that allow Crew to flood right back. So that potentially becomes a weakness of the map pool of Sentinels and why they're switching over to Pearl, their second map.
Yeah, also, we want to talk about the innovation, and we think of Potter, right? I mean, Sen haven't really innovated on Lotus either, right? Let's just say it how it is.
Yeah,
they've been running an old comp besides the Vice pick, but here we go. Here's the Agent picks on Haven, and yeah, it's that Waylay composition again. Last time EG was struggling heavily on the defensive side on how to retake. I imagine that they're going to be way more clean, maybe a little bit more disruptive, and try to make chaos into this Sentinels.
No more ISO Yoru here for Sentinels. Almost feels like they're going back to brass tacks here.
I mean, this is also picked up here by 100 Thieves in last week, so maybe they've realized something that 100 Thieves are doing well that it can mimic to play against EG. The weakness is going into that one.
All right, well, I was wondering what other maps we'd sort of see the Neon picked up in. It's going to be an interesting look for Zekin. It's time, folks, to head into map number 1 of this high-stakes NA matchup and send it over to your casters. It's Doug and Ender.
Thank you so much, fellas. I think Uber hit the nail on the head. When we talk about stakes, for these two teams, they come in 1-1. Yes, Sentinels has had a lot more international experience, but for Evil Geniuses, they haven't been on the big stage since, what, Champs 2023?
Yeah, and coming in now, big, high stakes. You really got to lift it up for them. When you consider, like, strength schedule remaining, right? You've got a Crew coming up after this one for them. That's not going to be easy whatsoever. Loud after that. If EG are able to take down a Sentinels today, their chances of going to playoffs go through the roof.
It is time for the Samsung match start. Load up fast with Samsung SSDs. I think the other thing that needs to happen quickly here is both of these teams are going to have to figure out their defensive woes. EG playing defense in the first half.
EG looking for a quick fight into mid. 2 garage, 2 mid, ready to trap off of early contact with a fault line in Nature's Hand.
Icy has been such a point of conversation. How is he going to be able to slide in? He's going to be the tip of the spear here. First on the challenge, gets a kill, not able to TP away, but damage dealt. You got a lot of presence going up C-Long as well. They have all this space.
Now, EG are sending 2 players to wrap around, scout out if there's going to be a late lurk into mid. 4-on-4, and options now for Sentinels to look in towards spawn. Check out how aggro Zelsis is going.
Zelsis, the rest of Sentinels, all of them are starting to scale up towards spawn. I love that decision, but you're right, it is Zelsis who's been sent off onto his own little side mission.
He's still going.
Right there.
Continuing to push the pace, he will shortly find out that there's nothing on the other side of that door.
And the drone doesn't see him either, Doug.
And the timing on this is perfect. The flash is there, nothing really on the swing quite yet. Now Narrate, pouncing onto Nature. And Zelsis is playing this timing perfectly. A great start for the red side.
Sentinels didn't even need Zelsis in that position because Narrate takes care of everybody. 3 kills for Sen Sova. And really reacting there nicely to what should have been a good pistol round from Evil Geniuses, right? They had this little trap set up, but the stun comes in late because EG wasn't playing such an aggro line into Garage. And I think the call coming in from John QT to say, okay, we can actually take this space in towards Link. Maybe even working off some prep there. EG, when they ran a similar play in their last showing, went for these B players walking out into the mid space, and Sentinels punished them.
And now they're in a position to really pile it on. A bit of an investment, keeping 2 ghosts, but a little bit more pop around that. Meanwhile, EG focused on the A side of the map for now.
Yeah, Super right now is sitting over in Link with a Paranoia line potentially for a refight from EG. They've got a couple of sheriffs themselves, but
this could be messy. I mean, they've got Nature stunned. Actually, Nature just used to stun, but there is a lot behind this trap. Is there enough for the bite? Zelsis is feeling some of that pressure, and again, C being explored.
Yeah, I like how calmly Sentinels played that, not overcommitting to the space. Yeah. Now they can work up here, try and find the camera, which they do eventually get. Evil Geniuses do a lot of these plays where they play really aggro on one side of their defense, and the other side is just Ye playing for a retake and them falling.
That cage will not save you there. Bang on the trade, though. Nicely done. 2 pistols remain.
Yeah, barring a nice timing from Supa here. I mean, that's a decent shot. Still a couple of sheriffs left, and now that's actually a Spectre picked up from Icy. Supa's probably going to need to get 1 more here if he can. Look at that!
1, maybe 2.
30 seconds.
And look how quick the flank is coming in as well from the Waylay.
I mean, it has to speed up. Superman's been doing all this on his own.
Spike planted.
Icy now arriving at the scene, instantly dropped. All eyes back on Superman. Still just a sheriff in hand, 2 smokes to play around. And an opportunity to send this first half into Havoc already. But there's so much more to be done. 65 HP off of the first swing. He connects onto Bang, but Narrate's there to save the day. An expensive anti-eco.
Yeah, Sentinels went for the FPX buy, so 3 rifles there. They only come away with the 1. Just the nice shots from Supa doing some work. Well, Sentinels still have options to force up. I think mainly what I'm looking for now from Evil Geniuses that has struggled on their defensive sides on basically every map, nearly throwing this map away to a 2G back in week 1. They have got to lock down this side of things, especially now choosing to pick Haven for their first time this stage.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I agree. There's a lot of bite behind this too for Sentinels. I mean, this is a really strong bonus.
I think this is EG's defensive setup from when he got the ace last week, him playing corner over towards C. Now just geared up for a refight, but Icy falls before he even gets to swing.
He was just not certain, not convinced that somebody could have been up close. His crosshair was definitely going to be towards the A main peak. Meanwhile, the Paranoia is already out. Zekin is all the way, back in hell at this point, but Nature is keeping the line back. Playing alive and being a nuisance with a little bit more to be done. Has to swing. And Bang's there to greet him. 3v2, the way the attack. The spike now down. Ye and Superman with much to do.
Yeah, Supa already used the Paranoia to try and help out, so there's no way to even get through this smoke.
He does have one of his own, though.
John's got a fault line ready to go. I mean, good luck, EG.
Yeah, the numbers don't always tell the tale, do they? Much easier said than done. Bang with 3 as Sentinels pile it on.
That's just brutal. I mean, Zekin finding this opener. So the thing is, Icy is going for a swing there. Nature's got his fault line in hand, but this fight comes in before the fault line is ready, just because Zekin had stepped into the space. Then sure, Nature moves into short, gets a couple of kills, but Bang does some excellent work playing off this fault line and clearing away the breach.
Great start here for Sen City. Light buy for Evil Geniuses. A Bucky in the hands of Icy. And light armor for Ye, who, you know, Ender, we've been talking about this a little bit. Ye has seemed like the main success for Evil Geniuses so far.
And mainly that comes due to his lurking on the attack side, and sometimes it can be nice shots like that.
Love that too, not overheating, drops a couple of cages, gets away.
Still though, Sentinels have the spike actually planted. Narrate's gonna get the ultimate off of that. So some options to fall into long and stall out time. You see Bang is teleported into the back of sight. He's gonna be a rat and just try to take down and delay EG as long as possible for Sen to play the post.
Garage smoke, leaving Superman out of the play for a little while.
Good stall.
Very good stall. They're gonna pop the Hunter Shuri too. Bang on the swing, and the Sheriffs are singing! Narrate's left in 1v3. Has the dart to play around, still fully healthy. Swings into the first, gets two, not connecting on the third! That's not the round that was supposed to go their way.
EG's Sheriff showing up in a big way. I mean, that fight into backside was messy from Sentinels. They thought they could disrupt that fight by having a Hunter's Fury, right? So players on EG are going to be trying to run away, dodge out.
Havoc.
Right, and then you can swing off of that, but it ended up being just all these Sheriffs flooding, winning their fights. Kind of what Super was able to do on that second round that didn't go EG's way.
Boy, Narrate gave that a run, didn't he? 20 HP for Icy at the end there.
I mean, he's off to a great start. 8-2 so far. But this has somehow gotten EG right back into the swing of things. And their defensive side is usually marked by playing really strong aggro plays around their waylay. Usually into A, sometimes down C long.
Yeah.
But their weak side of the map, it's usually Ye playing super passive, oftentimes for retake, and EG have struggled in the retakes. One of the things I was curious about was if Ye was going to play more aggressively, and that doesn't seem to be the case so far in these early rounds.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be the case this round either. Once again, Zekin getting the best of the opposing duelist. Keep a close eye on that matchup. EG fully rotating back towards A. The paranoia is out, but the space has not been taken. The TP committed from Bang. Perched down in hell. Smokes out through, but this is a little labor. Nature finally cracking the side open. 2 kills found, and A is theirs.
Dude, Narrate is frying right now.
Yes, he is.
EG are going to be forced to play for a save. And this is a round where Derek had the ultimate, right? EG would have loved to actually get involved and fight on this site.
Yeah.
But again, that fight down long, Icy getting picked off, is going to be a consistent issue for Evil Geniuses.
And so what's the adjustment on the other side of that? Are you investing a little bit more to set Icy up on those fights, or do you give it up?
Usually EG will give it up. Like, if you look at their series versus 100 Thieves last week, Evil Geniuses, when they started falling apart on those A lobby fights, they just started playing into front B space. They started sending Icy down into C long. They didn't really revisit that area of the map until much later on their defensive side. And even then, they weren't able to find a lot of the answers, so it's highly likely that Ye switches his setup to play the A side of the map in these future rounds, and maybe they can just ignore those early fights that Zekin continues to find there.
The ones that have been their Achilles heel. I mean, Zekin's, he's only 3-3, but I'm pretty sure all of the kills have been on Icy.
It's rough, these openers too, because it's not like EG are just trying to have Icy dry swing. There's a flash that's trying to come in, but it's just not doing anything.
Early timeout called here by Potter. Let's see what sort of adjustments or adaptations are on the other side. You mentioned right before the break, or right before the timeout, Derek has his ult. You thought they were going to want to play around it this in that previous round. I believe Nature has his as well.
Yeah, well, that's what makes this round so awkward for EG, is because they don't have the money to play around it. So usually when you're looking at rounds like this, where you have the big ultimates but no real guns, you'd like to run some kind of an early active play, see if you can find a pick, get numbers in your favor. Because the more you can draw out the clock after doing that, all of a sudden your ultimate's value gets more and more as the round moves on. We've already seen what EG can do with just the Sheriffs in hand.
Yeah, it's been their, I mean, that's been their only round win so far. Was off of those massive kills and then Icy getting last with the Sheriff back C. So maybe that's their strength.
I mean, I'd like to see them work a little bit better together, you know, in setting up some of these fights. It's been a bit disjointed between Nature and Icy. I'm kind of thinking EG might want to run some kind of play into the mid space this round. That said, it could just be on the eco. You keep things very similar and go back once again into the A space before switching things up on round 7, which is going to be the real defining one of this half.
Question is, if they get an inch, will they pounce off of it? Will they fully invest? You see that trip already cleared out. Garage, it was just off of that shock.
Ye hasn't even put down his camera yet. His second trip was a little delayed.
Only one with a gun.
It's a bit odd right now. Evil Geniuses are playing without any information in mid, so this forces them to double up players over in the links to hold on to the B space. Now a dart goes down there, and they hear a little bit of audio into A.
Spike dropped.
But with the clock winding down, this could come to punish Sentinels just a little bit. Now, Bang has Spike, but he doesn't have the ultimate. I think Sentinels are going to try to set up some kind of fake into A while they can slink in to this very empty C side.
IC jump spotting. They've spotted the duelist. Keep an eye on the minimap. Do the rotations come through, or do they realize it's a red herring? Are they not interested? The dash away from Waylay, the smoke's out A as well.
And remember, Sentinels are going into the only gun that EG have in Ye's hands.
A 1v5?
30 seconds left.
Only 3 at the site here. The paranoia out, not connecting. Ye taking a step back.
Is the thing though, Ye plays so passive, but now Hunter's Fury coming in. We're only 20 seconds left on the clock, Doug.
Spike still not committed. Derek wide right on the ult. Bang now committing it. The Rolling Thunder out. 13 seconds left. Spike still delayed. Keep a close eye on the clock.
10 seconds left.
Zekin holding the line, or at least attempting to. Spike finally sinking into the soil of the site. Attack in full control as Derek's left in 1v4. Better late than never, I guess.
EG's defensive woes continue. I mean, that's an eco round. You're using a Hunter's Fury and the Breach. 2 ultimates invested to try and delay the Spike from eventually going down. But even then, Ye falls, the only gun EG had. Continuing to play very passive, right? He's given no support on the defensive side, and yet tries to play, you know, slower, tries to play for the team, play retakes. But EG have not been in positions where they're allowed to actually go for that.
Yeah.
And this isn't just a today thing. This is all 3 maps.
So now EG off of that loss, yeah, they can invest a little more. Icy has an op, but those ults that you mentioned are no longer on the board. Second Hunter's Fury through. Zekin really far up, and they'll find a vacancy site.
Okay. That's a little opener for Ye. Even gets the hat out too, so big information to be gathered, and Evil Geniuses can try to deal with Garage by pinching into the space.
John QT has his ult. He's going to set the Rolling Thunder out. Zekin catching the best of Ye. Now Garage is theirs. Keep a close eye on Nature, though, on the late flank.
Oh, yeah.
Into Garage. This is so awkward. It's so disjointed, but they're expecting it narrate again for Sentinels. Massive value on the kill. It's just 2 left. Superman has the op, and you imagine he tries to save it here.
Just brilliant awareness from Narrate there.
Yep.
Lots of things going on with the fight into Link. Players wrapping him from mid as well. And sure, Super might be able to survive with this operator. But Sentinels call another brilliant post plant. They're continually getting very active in towards C-Link when they plant onto C. They've clearly prepared for how EG like to play this side of the map, which is very passive, right? Ye just spamming off his trips into Garage. It's a very solid game plan.
You can tell for Sentinels, there no reason not to hunt that op. They have plenty of money. Zekin was one off of his ult, so yeah, go get him. And if you die, you'll have the pew-pews for the next round. And yes, Superman's able to hang on to it, but you're right, man. Sentinel's game plan has been, hey, we're going to disrupt this retake. We're not going to allow you to flood out, and it's been gorgeous for them so far.
And they've clearly realized that they can go late into the C side when they're getting challenged in A. That's where EG are going to be set up. Maybe they can get this operator onto an earlier line.
Is this the adjustment for EIC to start winning these fights? Just hand him the big stick. Not even going to get challenged.
Well, I think Sentinels are going to try to refight this anyways.
This is danger. This is danger. If they commit to this. Smoke, flash, the drone there, the shot connects. You play with fire and it'll burn.
Interesting that EG are holding on to the A space. Sentinels reacting by going into B, but there's a double stack here.
And a forehead was spotted, so you see the rotation starting to come through. I see a mad dash to the opposite side of the map.
Wow. This is great calling from Sentinels. Again, pulling the C players into B only to go through Garage into C because they know that long camera is giving EG false info.
Now remember, they may be down numbers, but they do have guns. 2 ults to speak of as well. Zelsis really, that was the one I was interested in, but boy, EG just can't figure it out on defense, man.
It's funny, we talk so much about how Potter's never lost in VCT to this team.
Hang on.
It's a little closer. John's gonna clean up. SEN fans in the audience had no doubt on that one, but
I did.
You know, Potter's never lost to Kaplan in VCT. And yet, it feels to me like this is a complete difference in terms of game plan, right?
Yeah.
Every single C post plant has been the exact same thing. You've got this double wrap coming in from the B players of EG trying to pinch into Garage. And at the same time, Sentinels are fighting forward. Ever since the pistol round was exactly the same, but each one of these fights is going SEN's way. Their game plan is simply beating out EG's on the field of battle.
It certainly helps to have Narrate putting up the performance that he is. I think in this day and age of Valorant, it's easy to look at a team and look for the star, right? Who's the guy who's going to put the carry performances? And sometimes there are 2 or 3 even, but it's just interesting to watch a Sentinels team develop from the beginning of Kickoff up until now. It really does take a village with them.
Yeah, sends a whole galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they made a Netflix show on it, 3-body problem, and it's Zekin, it's Bang, it's John. This game, Narrate and Zelsis too. EG have a whole slew of problems to deal with, and it's not going to get any easier on their A retakes, which have struggled this stage.
They do have guns here, and again, it's been real dry for them. They've got to find some sort of success, and that's certainly going to help. Derek and Nature flooding out onto the side. Icy left on the opposite side of the trip for now. Getting a little bit more active. Meanwhile, Nature not connecting onto the spam. 12 HP for the diffuser. Superman's going to hold it the whole way with no contest.
On the 1 HP. Kind of reminds you of that 2G game that EG on their defensive side in the second half started slipping away, but they had a few of these, you know, just moments where they're full sticking diffuses. They put smokes on players playing off site. Are able to win out in the post plants.
Yeah,
here.
Give me your concern levels though, because while it was an excellent flood out from Derek Heaven, the diffuse only goes through because Nature doesn't hit the blind spam of the smoke.
I do think EG are still winning that round. Icy's coming in on the flank to deal with that too. It would have gotten a lot messier, that's for sure though. I think the big thing for EG was comboing their dart, their paranoia with that drop out of heaven, which has been disjointed previously.
Interesting defensive adjustments here. We talked so much about Icy holding the A long line.
Yeah,
he's up Garage here.
It's the pistol round, running that one back now, though. After the early info into the A space, EG are going to creep down into mid, see if they can spot out a lurk or anything.
I mean, surely this is all off of seeing that Icy's not here.
It's so classic. EG just gap sights consistently.
Yeah.
Again, trying to play an A retake. This time, though, Derek has the ultimate, trying to assist with the flood.
You don't invest it here, do you? Drone doesn't even get a tag. You've got to wait for help.
You eventually will, right? There's going to be the flank coming in from the waylay over this trip, but Narrate is playing in position to hear the jump up. He's going to break it anyways, but...
14 and 5 for the Sova. Can he make it 15?
Paranoia onto the site. Here's that ulti.
Zelsis is here to help down long. And there's the ult that you were mentioning. Icy playing the slowly. Meanwhile, Superman trying to flood his way out. Narrate does finally catch the trap, lying in wait.
One enemy remaining.
As Derek is the last one standing. And brother, this is going to take a lot. Stunned, dashing at you. Bang on the swing. That's 4 for him and 8 for Sentinels.
Bang's been mopping up these post plants. Just kind of farming EG right now. But it comes after one round where Icy goes for this flank, and immediately there's the adjustment calling in from Sentinels, right? Narrate guarding the flank. You even had Zelsis, I think, fell into long to play Crossfire in case Narrate was ever going to die on that angle.
Nice, Sean! Let's go!
This has kind of become a habit of Evil Geniuses. Potter having to call 2 timeouts on their defensive half. This is fairly normal. at this point.
Yeah, but surely that's not a habit that
Oh, it doesn't feel good. You don't like this type of habit.
This is a bad habit. This is like biting your nails. You don't want to have to do this. You don't want to do this regularly. And Potter, again, has been put into a spot where you're burning both. You're down 6. This is tough.
I don't think EG can continue to get away with this idea of playing 4 players fighting really aggressively and then leaving a site open. Right now, Sentinels are spotting that out way too easily, and EG's retakes have not looked good enough. I think it's a lot harder too, working the waylay and not having a jet to be able to smoke, drop out of heaven, or smoke dash into a site and just buy time inside of the Cloudburst. It's moments like these where you see some compositional differences coming into play. You have a less powerful operator. Rob Moore's running up here, handing us a Qbert. Center taking over the building right now.
I mean, they've taken over Haven. That's for sure.
Well, we'll see. EG, they're going to fight 4 players into lobby again, throwing everything into this early fight. We'll see what they're able to do here.
A stun, a smoke, a flash, the full fight. Icy has a stinger. This is about as much of a Hail Mary as you're going to get. Celsius does fall, though. And then look at the adaptation from Sentinels on the other side. They're going to try to accelerate elsewhere on the map.
Oh, but I like how Ye's sticking in Garage. Anticipating the pivot into this space. Ye could come up massively right now for EG if he takes a fight.
This is the passive play that you've been talking about this entire half. Still one more trip that you have to reckon with.
Tripwire destroyed.
Now cleared. Feels like the timing window's gone.
There will be a 3-player flank coming in from EG. But again, if Sentinels realize this, they can fight back towards spawn. The spike won't be planted for them. And as a matter of fact, Bang has the opportunity to get a late rewrap going on these EG players.
And you wouldn't expect that, given where it's planted for, but they've got 3 members on site, and you're right. The crunch is coming through. Bang does not have a splash. Derek is already down, and now they're going to try to speed up. Bang's playing his timing perfectly, and there it is! Patience pays off! 9 for Sentinels.
This map has been the story of the C post plants for Sen, and it's been the story of Narrate and Bang. I mean, Narrate is 17-6 right now on the Sova. Every single post plant, when EG are trying to crunch into him, he's fully aware of what's going down. I love the call. I mean, after you lose this opening player, that's just silly. But then this refight into Garage is what worked so well for Sentinels. It'd been so many of these fights into Link that just the slight wrinkle going Garage is beautiful.
Fake TP across, and that's enough to draw out the paranoia. Those little micro decisions are working so well for Sentinels.
Paranoia now to scout out the C site. Icy's got a Bucky in Garage. He's not going to be very useful here.
Well, stranger things have happened. Again, a vacant site. And again, retake simulator for Evil Geniuses. Oh dear. This is not going to get any better, is it? No, it's
going to get worse.
Zelsis. Oh, it's so bad. Gorgeous. From Zelsis, 2 HP, looking to connect on the ace. And can't, but it doesn't get much more picture perfect than that.
Just destruction out here. Yeah, Icy's trying to break the crosshair, but Zelsis may have just broken EG.
Dude, that aggro swing into Garage and then fighting 2. Wait, does someone have
please don't 10-2.
Yeah, who's
No, dude! He's headshot! Dude, God! Bro, I was 2 in the open.
He also had 2 HP, bro. that's a tough ass. A 10-2 half for Sentinels. We're going to throw it to a break. We will be right back.
Oof, stuck paying for that old phone? Don't be. You know, at Verizon, we'll pay off your phone. And you'll get iPhone 16 on us. That's a value of up to $1,600, only on Verizon.
SEN City has a lot to be excited about. 8 things in particular, as they're up 10-2 against Evil Geniuses. And yes, that was the defensive-sided woes for Evil Geniuses. Now they're going to be able to figure things out, and it's going to be on Sentinels to see if they can do the same, Ender.
EG need to start out strong here on the attack side of things, but they're going up against a Narrate that is in the zone. He is completely locked in. The rest of SEN City showing up big inside the arena here today in Los Angeles. But Evil Geniuses, last real shot here. Start things off a little bit slower, scouting out the A space, droning down into C before choosing their mark.
Well, what was the game there? A little bit of spam through that smoke. Not connecting onto anything. Keep a close eye on that trip. No real way to punish off of it, but
yeah,
a little info gathered.
A little bit later than usual, you see the fault line come through from EG. So that'll be back at 40 seconds. Still will leave some time, but Ye is the guy to watch on attack for EG. EG love to give him positions to lurk up. So often he'll insert himself exactly where he is inside window. But Sentinel's scouting has been perfect so far on the first half. They're not going to be fooled by these late lurks from Ye.
I don't know, he's a sneaky little bugger.
They might still get killed by him, but they shouldn't be fooled.
This part here is a little concerning, because you're right. You've got Ye who's inserted. You're kind of stalling out on A, though, waiting for that second dose of utility to come through. Now the dart is up.
There's still a stun to be able to delay. A paranoia with Bang here, too. There's 4 players now from Sentinels, and it's only now that Ye activates.
And he's going the wrong way.
But that's okay. He's calling the rotates to come back into C. No one is actually here with 20 seconds left. EG will still have time to plant the spike. It's about Zelsis finding this timing now into the mid space, and he barely misses out on Nature.
Meanwhile, Ye was so far up, he was in spawn. Get second, yes. Left. Traded back, though.
Hold on, Narrate's now pushed into A lobby too. But Icy's turned around and waiting. And he takes care of it.
Connects onto Narrate, a bullet between his eyes, the deep smoke back towards spawn. It's the lurk upon the lurk. Upon the lurk. Now, gunfire ensues in garage as Derek's able to get 2. John QT left in a 1v4, connects on the first, now stunned up and left to die, surely. 3 bullets left, refreshes the clip. 2 members weak, but Superman's healthy.
And he's still worried about Icy wrapping him in from B. Icy's now posted into C long with the go. Should be no issues for EG now.
So what was so successful there?
That was, again, standard attack side round from Evil Geniuses. It's about Ye getting that insert, finding that lurk timing, and calling the rest of the team in towards C. Sentinels sort of overbought that side hit because it was so delayed into the round. And I think those extra layers of lurks on lurks, being aware of Narrate coming in through A late as well, did EG very nicely. And it's worth pointing out, their attack sides have looked fairly good throughout this year. Especially on Haven, they have been solid. We'll have to wait and see how effective that's going to continue to be for them. Because you can't always get away with playing these slow rounds, especially once Sentinels speed up the pace like this.
There's not a lot of knowledge. Maybe you heard a little bit, given where Ye was.
Yeah, I like Ye's angle here, too.
My concern is that if he gets crunched, and there's a good chance he gets crunched, that's a gun upgraded.
And Supa just left the angle in A lobby too, so now he's really just the only guy here. Got a bit of a high-low to play with.
Bro, it's like the Void is calling him.
Here we go.
Gets his 2 traded, but damage dealt.
Not enough damage, I don't think.
Oh, yeah. I think if you're A here, you did everything they could have asked you for. I mean, you're in a what? A 1v3? You're 100%. Able to get 2. That's perfect right out of Ye.
And they went for the right buy, too, Evil Geniuses. They should be forcing up the next round, trying to keep this momentum going for the team.
Are we in for one of those silly games where we like 10-2, 10-2, and then...
We could be. Next round is one that determines it for me.
Yeah.
If EG can win next round, it's not so fake.
That might just be the kind of day we're in for. As EG gets a 4, and you know, that's a round they're supposed to win, but I think you're right. Now is when the game really begins.
Exactly, and in terms of EG's econ, that was perfect, right? They came in with 4 guns, they go out with 4 guns, and they should be able to force up by a rifle for Ye, because Nature went for the save.
Neon still just seems really, really strong sometimes.
Put Neon in the slow-mo, still moving at a normal speed for anyone else. Now, one of the things EG love to do on attack, they'll open up strong, usually into A or C space, and then they'll put a freeze on in the mid-rounds. I want to see how Sentinels approach that. Right now, just holding on to a ton of A lobby space, kind of forcing EG to walk in, deal with these Cypher trips outside of C.
One was cleared, the one back C, but there's still one up in garage.
Ooh, he didn't teleport out. Icy is in there. Oh. How good is this guy?
He's insane. He's had a ridiculous map.
And it's been a little hot and cold from Narrate since joining Sentinels, but this is on fire.
Celsius is in a really good spot, swinging off of the cam. You know, it happens to everyone.
Sentinels got a couple of big flanks going too. Narrate, can't take your eyes off of him. No, but really, you can't keep your eyes on him either, because John's going to come in and clean up the rest of your team.
And then if it wasn't John, Zekin was all the way up C long. They're playing the map in a very aggro pace on both sides, right? You think about their attack half and how they wanted to disrupt the retake. They were scaling into spawn on C a lot. Even on the defensive side, think about the pressure they've been able to apply in the re-reps garage, the re-reps down C long too.
Yeah, basically as soon as Narrate has those 2 kills front B, and they also hear the waylay going up into garage, it's like, oh, we have the push through.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you just box Evil Geniuses. There's no real way out.
Box them like a fish?
Yeah.
Very well handled there. 11-4 for Sentinels. Ults really, I mean, you've got Narrate who's close to his, 19 and 8 performance out of him. Meanwhile, EG with not a time to speak of.
Uh-oh, this fight on short. No! They've seen this play before, by the way. EG ran this same play versus 100 Thieves, and Cryo killed Supa in that same spot last week.
There's little things not going EG's way, the big things not going EG's way either. Numbers advantage here for the defense. And if what we saw in the previous round is any indication, you're already seeing Celsius get active down C long. Once they have a little advantage, they start to take everything else in the map away.
They know exactly how much space they can acquire. Ye's still forced off of trips in garage while the team is pushed away from the A site too. They're going to want to move back into him, but now he's given up his position by breaking it.
And that's such a dangerous call because yes, you've got Ye who's late lurking and trying to insert, but that makes the A hit so much weaker because you've already lost a member in Superman.
No smokes either, so you really are banking on either over-rotates from Sentinels or Ye finding something here. Although, I mean, to be fair, getting 2 trips on your own, not bad in terms of creating gaps. And you can see Bang backside B is switching his positioning. Is someone coming garage? Is it going to be B? Well, really he deals with that.
Yeah, rotating around, very nicely done. Ye's dead, Celsius is on the prowl, but he might be a little too late. They've got a lot of space on the site. Sentinels choosing not to push the pace, choosing to take a step back and wait.
Eyes on Celsius.
For reinforcements to arrive, and they could not be a moment too soon. Nature now dealt with. Icy and Derek left alone at 2v3, and it just went from hard to harder.
Man, that post play just looks too easy for Sentinels. EG kind of all off on their doing their own thing. And then you even have like Bang clearing. They're so calm with it, right? Sees the shoulder. Oh, quick little step to the left. Instant kills for him.
Beautifully done.
One enemy remaining.
That kind of felt like the last chance for Evil Geniuses here.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually about to ask you, I mean, do you just full send here on a site? The 1-4 hasn't been very successful, but I mean, you got to try something, I guess.
Potentially. It might be Sentinels that are going to be trying something, going down C long.
Got a stun set up and then a full dash down. Does Zekin have ult? No. But it is still Zekin. A deep smoke, the stuns, the fault line out. It's a full crunch C. No one's home.
This puts so much pressure on EG. They need to take some space into mid, see if they can exploit this gap for the time being. But already there's some repositions coming in. Sentinels trying to react to this hit.
John just repositioned, doesn't have a stun up yet. Won't for about 10 more seconds. Hunter Fury now invested. They've gotten a lot of space on the site, but they haven't been able to get the spike down yet. Nicey's now dead. been labored, it's been cumbersome.
And all the while, Sentinels have now crept down into A lobby. Zelsis with a chance to flank after breaking the trip. A fight forward into Link too.
Rolling Thunder out, John just got his stun back up. Derek tries to scale up in seconds there to greet him. With welcome arms, the second fight going through, going the way of EG. Superman on top, the Paranoia and out on site, but keep a close eye on Zeki. He's all the way backside. You still got Zelsis who's back window. Superman left in a 1v3. It's able to get a couple, but once again, it's Narrate who saves the day. Bookended.
What a map from this guy. It's a 13-4 for Sentinels, but that is just a masterclass performance on Sova out of Narrate. You couldn't ask for anything more.
No, I mean, I lost count of how many kills he had. We'll check here. 21-9.
Yeah. Bang 2 had an absolute burner, 17-7. It was all those post plants. Really, was Sentinels on the attacking side. Yeah. Had an answer to every single idea EG was trying, and they were shooting on top of that too.
Concern